Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is time here for the finals of the Pro Cricket Singles. This is exactly what we want to see, a rematch of that seat match. Carlos Martinez Ruiz and Smarlin Martinez C going up against each other on the dartboard. They're just throwing their last few warm-ups. We're excited to see them on the dartboard once again for a best of 5. And then, if Smarlin gets the win, it'll go to a second deciding set, best of 5. In the meantime here, while they get the last couple darts in, and it looks like they are just about ready to go, I did see a question in here from Eric in the chat, as it looks like they are ready to diddle. See how this goes real quick, and I'll answer your question, Eric. Great diddle there from Smarlin. Finds the double bull. But Carlos, not able to best it. So he is going to have to go second here, but it's best of 5, so a little bit more distance, not as much pressure. It was that last league decider diddle where Carlos was able to lock in the win over Smarlin, it felt. Now, Eric's question here said, aside from if a dart is blocking a number, if you're coaching on someone on how to be a great shooter, would you tell them to stand in one spot or for all the numbers or move around? Let me tell you, this is the best. There's a lot of pieces of advice. The best way to approach this is I like to make sure, and there's different players that like the different spots, but I like to line up my shoulder to the bull, or maybe just to the right of the bull, depending on how I'm feeling with my throw. So I will go up to the board. I will line up my shoulder to point right at that bullseye, and from there we'll be able to select my targets based off my arms follow through. I will move if I have a blocker dart, and you've heard me probably say that a few times, where if there's a dart in the awkward angle, you should move. But that being said, the average case, the average time I'm playing, I will always say stay in the same spot. That's one less variable you have to worry about with your own dart throw. And there's plenty of other things that you can worry about. But there's no reason to have a spot where I stand here when I'm shooting 16s and I should stand here when I'm shooting 18s, right? You're just adding extra stuff for you to think about in a game that's so mentally heavy and taxing. Now back to the match here. Looking at what we have going on, Smarlin does get the early jump, but only a 4-point lead, giving Carlos a little time to get settled in. He did have to sit a little bit from that seat match, but not too long. I think he had to sit about 1 hour, give or take, a little bit longer than that. So not a terribly long sit. So it's about using your break effectively. He gets a shot at the 20 here. You can see that dart dragged right on down. Still finds a good 7 mark nonetheless. Smarlin had a little bit of a sit before that third place match, but didn't stop him from putting on some of his best starts of the day in that last leg decider. Oh, he's taking a look. And he's so frustrated. He has hit so many of these 7 marks where one holds that last dart. He keeps pointing for it. He keeps looking for that big celebration moment. It just hasn't quite converted yet. And they're just the 1, 2, 3 with the 2, 3 being the punch. Interesting shot here. It does put a little bit of pressure for the 5. I start trip 18, and then here I go for 2 17s. And that's what he's going to be forced to do. Now, what that did do is at least help downgrade that 20 number. But the problem is that there's not really a great way to give yourself an opportunity in this turn to have the point lead and get the closing shot. Down 8 points. Stays for a 3 in the bed. Still a great shot from Carlos Martinez Ruiz. Gets the point lead regained and then adds onto it. Good 7 mark in response. Back and forth battle. This is going to be a great final if it stays at a pace like this. Six on the 16s helps the cause concede the 10-point lead back. Smarlin, he likes to play a little aggressive, but he needs to have a shot that enables him to take the swing. Like there, I stay for another. And now it's a little bit more debatable. He's looking like he is swinging and does collect. Beautiful 7 from Smarlin. Trip 15 does find the first awkward spot on the top side. You can see he doesn't like the spot, which is why he took that look there. Unfortunately, just doesn't collect one hole high on the 18. Means that Smarlin should be able to take leg number 1 and hold his throw as long as he gets a good collect here. There's the trip 15. Back to 18. Smart darts. Carlos, not much he can do. Does hit a double 18 for the fans. Man, we talk about Maloney doubles so much over here in the stateside. Let me tell you, doubles are just getting popular in 15-inch cricket, it seems. There's been so many different players today that have been shooting the doubles pretty consistently. And look at that. Smarlin does get leg number 1. He's 2 legs away from sending this to another set. But just to hold a throw, it's a 5.61. It's a great performance against a 5.86. So great standard from both these gentlemen. We've seen it. We've seen the standard have to be high 5s, low 6s. We've seen a 7.5 today as well. Good 5 on the 20s. Smarlin does find the 19s. Hits 6. And goes up to the 20s. Hits a 9. Smarlin hits the big shot. At least a single. Finds a triple. Can he return the sender? He can't. Goes high, and you can see the look on his face. He felt like he let that one go a little high. And another big shot. Smarlin, I'm going to be transparent here. When we saw him play that first top 8 match against Fernando, I was like, oh, it's kind of underwhelming. And in fact, there were some comments that were like, oh, really, these guys are on the pro side. But he kind of scraped by in a match that wasn't being pressed too hard, and then has proceeded to play like a champ ever since. Carlos has been the only man to keep up with this pace. Javier fell short in their 3rd place match. That was a beautiful 9, by the way, from Carlos. He's forcing a 7 out of Smarlin and needs to get this close in the 16s. Does get the close with a 4-point lead to add a dart, but Carlos is getting some momentum back in this leg. This is excellent standard from both these gentlemen. Excellent standard. Consistently finding perfection as we see another 9. And look at Carlos there. Gives a little bit of a smirk and kind of subdues his own celebration. I love every bit of that. A good 7 mark there. The 15s are grabbed. 17s are added on. And then moves on to the bull, knowing that single 17 did push it. So great position to find yourself in if you're Carlos. Smarlin shaking his head, but it's not like he did much wrong in this leg. This has been an incredibly fast and competitive standard between these two, what I would argue say champions. These guys already both feel like they deserve the win. They both shown this stuff to show why they can think that. Now it's just about who actually gets the title for the pro cricket singles. There's the double. What a leg. What? Yeah, 6.75 average for Carlos. Wow. The board does not lie with what it's saying there. 6.75 to 6-0 with Smarlin. No notes. Incredible standard. It's 1-1. Smarlin just going to try to make sure he holds his throw, get to match point first. Flights are crossed. Might move. He stays, and you can see that dart going well under. When that flight is pulled down, it's not necessarily that it is the biggest blocker, especially if you scooted just a smidge to the right, but it's a visual blocker. And when you have visual blockers, it's easy to not have the same follow through as normal. And now this is a moment right back. Instead of going for the aggressive close on the opening 9, stayed down for a conservative 7 from Carlos. A little bit of frustration is being seen. What a 6 mark grab there from Carlos. You can see he's a man on a mission right now. He wants to get this leg so that way he has a little bit of a cushion, a little bit of a buffer. But Smarlin knows with a double dip in mind that he has a lot of work to do, and he is up to the task. There, finds a 5 that could have been a 9 millimeters away. Carlos now pushed down. Want to see him stay on these 19 slate trips. Finds the first trip. Might stay. That's inviting. Yeah, it's just so inviting when the darts are positioned like that. He stays for all of them. Last one probably could have been a move, but I mean, just given the positions of those darts, there's sometimes where you see a dart land and you know how a player's been throwing, and you just expect a certain result after. Same thing here. But he does find a 9. Smarlin, 3 in the bed on the 18s. Gets the point lead back by a single mark. Carlos going to go ahead and do what he's been doing on the 19s. He's taking a look on this dart. But there it goes low on the 18 wire, and that's why it's a little bit frustrating for him, I would have to imagine, because the other round where he stayed for a 7 on the 19s, he didn't swing on the 18 where he should have, and I think that it might cost him because he didn't get to close in this last attempt. Doesn't get his 19 shut down yet. So he can at least take that as a saving grace moment. He does get the close on the 18, so it hits a big double back to the 19s. Hits a big 8 mark. Carlos finally gets rid of those 18s that have been the bane of his existence. Smarlin wants to try to get a shot at these 19s. I don't think 4 marks on the 17 is enough to justify a single 19, though. It's a little 53 points. Yeah, you have to stay. That's an unfortunate position just because of where the math was for Smarlin. Now, Carlos here needs to defend these 19s now. He needs to stay until he trips again. He's going for the aggressive look. Is it going to pay off? Finds the 17s. Now back to the 19s. And a great stay and a powerful shot from a confident Carlos. Smarlin. Only hits a 2. This is a huge opening now, as Carlos can potentially break the throw by hitting this 6 mark. It will lock in this leg. Pop in the chat. Yes, this is the final. Ill from YouTube chat says, do y'all still do blind draws at BullShooters? Yes. Instead of having the official Friday one, as that's a big 7, by the way, for Carlos to go ahead and get this leg in his favor. We don't actually have the official Friday night blind draw. We haven't since the 37 tour. But what you do have instead is that we actually run a bunch of different miniature blind draws at all the different regional stops, and including in Chicago. They're called second chance events. They're pop-ups. They're $20 to play. So they actually run more and more blind draws than they ever did before. So yes, they do. It's just not official blind draw leg. It's not on the schedule, I should say. Carlos is up 2-1. A 6.68. Honestly, falling off pretty hard. Now 6.68, and then the Smarlin does drop to below a 5 at a 4.88 there. But let's be honest, he only fell to that point after one poor round, and then didn't really have a chance to get back into the leg. This pro singles final has been incredible so far. The standard has been incredible for these last two legs. We already saw, right, I believe it was Smarlin in leg number 2 that lost with a 6-0. Now, if Carlos wins the leg here, this finals is over. Hits just the 4 to follow the 4 from Smarlin. Let's see what he's able to do with this opportunity. There's only so many ways you can go about this. He's going aggressive, finds that first trip, takes a look at the 19. I don't like the stay. You have to hit it. He does hit it. It's a great marker. Here's the thing. If you're down 2-1 and your opponent's on match point, there's two different philosophies. It's either play aggressive and throw the book at the wall and really see what sticks. Oh my gosh, what a 9. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. They're just incredible darts. But yeah, you can either play more aggressive or you can play conservative, right? You have your two different options of what you can really do on your approaches. And frankly, in a position right now, I don't know if I want to see Smarlin be too aggressive. I kind of want to see him play a little bit safer, a little less on the hero darts. But yeah, that's a minor note. He's throwing incredible. Both these guys are having a great standard. I'm loving everything I'm seeing from both these gentlemen right now. Another great question in here in the comments for the BullShooter finals. Did post a link in there if you guys are trying to sign up, as the pre-registration is cheaper than on site for the BullShooter 39th finals. We're less than a month away. It's going to be May 22nd. But first, BullShooter Chicago, how does divisions work? Is there caps? There's no caps. So there's either amateur events, and then there's pro events. There's A and AA designations there. So you'll see on the sign up list, it'll tell you. So for instance, on Thursday, the Monsters of Midway, there's a no A or AA players, and then there's pro A and AA. Now you can play up, but you can't play down if you're a pro. But yeah, and you can see the distinction there. If you can also look at the pro list on that website to see if you're currently on the list. But that being said, that's a beautiful 8 mark. Smarlin back against the wall in this final. Needs to find a trip 15. That might be a good marker. You can see that follow through is a little wonky. He's really trying to place that dart. That one had a little bit more of a decisive follow through, but he knows with that 3 mark, that might be the deciding round. He had an opportunity for a big 9. Instead, it's Carlos's opportunity. He needs to close these 15s. Doesn't in 2. He needs to add to the bull now. 25-point difference, and he finds a trip on the 16. Carlos Martinez Ruiz is about to potentially get this win. Get it done here and now. This might be it. Carlos, for your win in the finals. There's the double bull. Needs one more bull and gets it there. You can see the reaction from him. You can see the crowd giving some love and support, and you can see Smarlin having a little bit of a frown, but all smiles for his friends. He played really well. That was a great final.